Let's start with Geeta Dhyana. O Bhagavad Gita, by which Arjuna was illumined by Lord Krishna himself, and which was composed of 18 chapters within the Mahabharata by the ancient sage Vyasa. O Divine Mother, destroyer of rebirth, who showers the nectar of oneness upon us. O Bhagavad Gita, my affectionate mother, upon thee I meditate. All the Upanishads are the cows. The milker is the cowherd boy, Krishna. Arjuna is the calf. People of purified intellect are the drinkers. And the milk is the supreme nectar of the Gita. My salutations to the Lord, who is the source of supreme bliss, whose grace makes the mute eloquent and the crippled cross mountains. Hari Om Tat Sat. Good morning. So we just practiced something. So this lovely Maha Mantra practice. I want to ask if you saw that, if you noticed something about that. So it's a seemingly very complex melody, and it didn't repeat. So, but each of us in our own way were able to repeat it. What was the practice that you had to practice in order to do it? What did you have to do in order to repeat the melody? Did you notice?
Listening very intently.
Oh my God, thank you. Listen very intently. And you see, it was the act of listening that did it. It wasn't creating something, it wasn't making something, it wasn't actually memorizing it. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Like, how can you remember all of those notes in that order and that quickly? You could memorize it in time, right? But you saw what it was. Listening so intently that what? That then it flows through you.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah, I feel like because when I listen, I'm also like having it in my mind. I'm saying it, but in my mind as I listen.
Yeah, and it's interestingly, it's actually deeper than that. So, Mataji, Jagannatha, so you're leading it, but are you leading it? No, you're also doing what? What is your practice? It's also listening, isn't it?
It's being absorbed in it.
Yeah, it's listening. So there's a key here, and we're just coming back to this because it's such a beautiful teacher for us. There's a key here, and something that we must come to realize. And when we realize it, life flows. When we realize it and imbibe in it, life flows. And this is absorption and awareness are actually one and the same. So when you're listening deeply, what are you actually practicing?
Awareness.
Intense awareness, is it so? And do you notice that in order to practice awareness, all you have to do is get everything that you don't want to be aware of out of the way?
Everything else we took care of.
Non-distraction.
So, and the distractions, if you look, the distractions are going to be where?
Oh.
Memories, thoughts, desires, all of that stuff. So, yeah. So your practice is a practice of awareness, isn't it? So within awareness itself, this exists.
Yeah, we could be saying, darn, I wish they could be recording this right now. But I can't say that.
But it's already recorded.
Yeah.
It's already in you. What are you aware of? So you're aware of the melody. You're aware of the music. We can call it like that. Did it seem like it was apart from you?
No.
No. You just have to tune to it inside, correct? And it's there. So it's awareness itself that is bringing forth the light. Awareness itself is really the light, but the practice and listening, seeing, if you're to listen deeply, to see deeply, to reflect deeply, it's the same. It's really practice of awareness, you see? And you also notice in this really deep listening that it's like you disappear. And only that, if you listen deeply enough, you notice that? Mataji? So all of your stuff is gone, right? As soon as your stuff enters the room, then the melody's not there anymore, right? So, but you go into this place like going into a closet, and you experience oneness with it, right? And then for us to follow you, we practice very deep awareness. Now, how is this relevant to the Bhagavad Gita and what's being shared right now? You see? So where is Arjuna right now? And what is his practice?
Intense listening.
You see it? So he's in awe. What does that mean? Just take what we've just practiced and apply it.
Fully aware.
Fully aware.
Yeah.
And in the full awareness, what did your relationship become with the mantra?
One.
You became the mantra, is it so? And whenever something, some other imagination or some other idea comes, the mantra goes. Right? But where did it go? It didn't go anywhere, it just got covered up. Hari, do you see that? Yeah? So, and this is where Arjuna is right now. Arjuna is what?
Humbled.
Fully aware and present with Krishna and in awe. Huh?
Every cell of his being.
Every beautiful particular, every cell of his being. So what does that mean in terms of his inner state right now? You know
let
it.
go of his first chapter stuff or second chapter stuff.
And it's open, completely open.
Completely open. So that's this cosmic vision, dears. That's this cosmic vision. So it said that Krishna gave it to him, but it was already there. And so he's become so completely absorbed in Krishna by this point that he's what with Krishna?
One.
He's one with Krishna. And for him now, there's nothing other than Krishna, right? He's not going somewhere.
He's not worried anymore.
You see it?
But there is a choice still.
It is. It is. The light is always here. And so too, the shadow appears to be here. Right? The ocean is always here, and so too the waves appear to be here.
Just like the radio station, you can choose any
Yeah.
station, but you gotta choose the highest.
Oh. And then what's the practice? The practice is really always the same. This is the great mystery, but it also speaks to who you are, you see. You see that this deep listening is a practice of deep awareness. Huh? And you see that through practicing awareness, you become one with whatever you're aware of. You see that? Bless you.
Thanks.
Which means, of course, that you were one with it already. Because it's not something outside, is it, Mataji? Oh. and something inside. So you can say the cosmic dance like that, or the anahatanada, the cosmic music, the cosmic orchestra. And somehow you experience union with it, and it flows through this instrument. It becomes ahatanada. This is the instrument. So starting here at the mind. But is the mind, do you have the impression that the mind is thinking about it and conjuring it? The mind is the instrument, has to be. So it speaks to really to who you are. Who is Arjuna, who is Krishna, who you are. Does that make sense? Because whose power of awareness is it? Well, you can say Krishna's, yes. But it's also yours somehow. Right? Because you have the ability to access it within, to apply it, and to experience what being in this pure awareness is. Which is the loss of all individuality, the loss of all fear and anger and hatred and judgment and all of this mental activity. So this is what Arjuna has discovered or is discovering. So we'll pick it up here. And it also gives you a clue of this life experience and why it is that we suffer, etc. In this state of boga, coming into union with the objects, it's really, we say coming into union with the sense objects, but it's really coming into union with a thought, isn't it? Because the sense object, it has existence, but we already discover through breaking our heads and really paying attention and practicing discernment, we already discover that the sense object is made of the one. And so what is my relationship with it? It's the thought that I have about it, right? I call this tea, and I have an experience of the taste, and this is mind stuff. So I'm really coming into union with the thought about things, which is my own private world, right? My own little world. That's called boga. That's the opposite of yoga, which is the distracted state. But you see, it's actually the same thing happening, is awareness. It's coming into union with a thought. And then another thought. And then another thought, and a desire, and this, and this. So in monkey mind, it's as if awareness is getting tossed about, but it's like flipping a deck of cards and bringing pure awareness to each one and trying to catch it as it goes by. So we enter a state of distraction. But here we're being taught how to come back to the state of union, undisturbed, undistracted, which is to see the light instead of the shadow. Right? And the shadow, of course, is made of the light, but the shapes in the shadow, the shapes in the names, they'll constantly change, appear to. But the light is one. And so this chapter is where Arjuna and us, of course, are coming to see the one light is the reality of every one of these shadowy shapes. Every single one of them. The one light is playing through all of this, and the one light is all of this. And so recognizing the one light, always, one single pointed. So we can really say single-pointed awareness, as it were. Undistracted awareness. Deep listening. Deep cognition. Cognition. Cognition is a good word. Cognition. What's cognition? Cognition speaks to the conscious mind, right? To cognize, to surmise, to see through. Oh, okay, so we'll pick up here. So if that's helpful, this is the state that Arjuna finds himself in now. So he's completely absorbed in this very deep awareness and just absolutely enthralled, right? And so he's lost what we would call himself. So Krishna continues. Therefore, stand up and obtain fame. Conquer the enemies and enjoy the unrivaled kingdom. Verily, by me have they been already slain. Be thou a mere instrument, O Arjuna. The shloka can be taken or multiple ways, but really its deepest meaning, I feel like you can see it here. The deepest meaning is, who are the enemies? For us, therefore stand up and obtain fame. Conquer the enemies and enjoy the unrivaled kingdom. Where is the kingdom? You see, certainly at one level, he's talking with him about this battlefield in front of him, but the battlefield isn't out there, right? Yeah? So he's really talking about this battlefield. And enjoy the unrivaled kingdom. Verily, by me have they been already slain, the enemies. So on the outside, yeah, but even here. All you have to do, and of course it's a monumental task, we get it, but still it's simple. Whatever you've sought is in the light. So what's required is deep listening, deep awareness, deep cognition. That's really the only thing required. But of course, Swami Shivananda last night, he tells us, shake off this lethargy. Right? Shake off this tamas. Because that's actually what's required in order to get there. Because there are these inner forces, as it were, arrayed, ready to distract us. And take us away. Yeah? But the kingdom is right here. Just like the Maha Mantra, that amazing Maha Mantra is right here. And all we have to do is listen deeply. In the same way the kingdom is right here, and what we're needing to do is focus deeply. Deeply. Focus the awareness at the light, keep it on the light, see the light wherever we are. Don't be distracted by the fact that it appears to be shadow. See the light there anyway. It appears to be tea, it appears to be a cup, it appears to be Uma Devi, it appears to be Hari, it appears to be a monitor. But it's not. This is where Arjuna's seeing is really coming alive. And so we can say through grace, of course, the same grace that we experience right now. Right? It's the one light everywhere. And what's required is to bring our awareness. And Swamiji, he provides a beautiful formula here in his commentary. The close of the shloka. Verily by me have they already been slain. Be thou a mere instrument, O Arjuna. So be the listener, as it were. So Swamiji says, God is the Redeemer. At the appropriate time, all souls shall vacate their habitation and find a new abode. Kshaya. Even if, on account of delusive attachment or infatuation, one wishes to prolong indefinitely the life of one's beloved ones, it is impossible. Hence, Lord Krishna has declared in the previous stanza, even without thee, these shall not live. Krishna repeats that argument in this verse. They've already been slain by me. In fact, that spiritual event in the mind of God has to be worked out on the physical plane by human instrumentality. The bhavana, the attitude of life that Krishna indicates in this verse, the nimitta bhavana, is an attitude of being an instrument of the light, or an instrument in the hands of God. It speaks to getting ourselves out of the way. And he says it has several implications, and he speaks to them, and see if these are helpful. These are attitudes that can be adopted, or implications that we can see in terms of our situation. You see, we imagine ourselves in the thraldom of this ego sense, this feeling of being separate. But what we're identified with is a shadow, not the light. That's the only issue we have. Ultimately, it's the only issue we have. We're identified with this aspect, with this persona, and not the light. That's it. And we've let our awareness become so distracted that we're imagining these shapes and names and forms to be alive, and missing the one life because we've forgotten how to cognize deeply, how to listen deeply, how to see deeply, how to see the essence instead of the appearance, right? And so we've come into this place where we each imagine ourselves to be kings of a limited kingdom. I'm king of this, you're king of that, you're king of that. And we compete on a battlefield, some imaginary battlefield, in order to get what we need. But when we look more deeply, we see there's only one king. All of these bodies come from the one king. They're made of the one king. All of these thoughts are coming from this universal mind, not a limited mind. And we see evidence, and this morning we just had this beautiful evidence of this Mahamantra practice. We say, my God, that exists in every single one of us. We just need to listen deeply, and that's it. Right? So we have the experience of, again, it's universal. It's not individual. It's not separate. It's universal. And the most successful practice, even at an individual expression, is in connecting to the universal first. And then all these voices harmonize. Because they all have individual qualities, but what they're expressing is a universal. And so fit together so beautifully well. And this speaks to society, in fact. The more we have the ability to see that we're each individualized aspects of the totality, and the totality is us too.
We play our notes.
We play our note. So I'm an instrument. In this way, I'm an instrument. Of what? Of the orchestra, of the cosmic orchestra. And when I focus on the cosmic orchestra, or I focus on the light instead of on me, then I come into harmony. I come into perfect harmony. Yeah? So the first bhavana he suggests is, in that way, see yourself as an instrument. And see that the light is the master, and don't be afraid to be the instrument of the light. Recognize it. And in recognizing it comes freedom. So he says, here he identifies 5 in this bhavana. He says, first, that I'm an instrument in God's hands and I do nothing on my own. On the one hand, this generates true humility. All glory is God's. On the other, it bestows tremendous power on us. God, who is working through this instrument, is omnipotent. It should be clear that the instrument does not say it is one. It is not even aware it is one. For true humility is not experienced within oneself, but is seen by others. To function as an instrument is to be totally free of ego. Second, he says to be an instrument in God's hands itself is great glory. We must accord this glory to his instruments through whom his will functions, that is, saints and others generally. 3, God's grace flows through our benefactors to us. We all experience benefactors, yes? We all have benefactors, right? Can you see that the benefactor is actually God's grace?
What's a benefactor?
Flowing through? A well-wisher, someone who is benefiting you in your life. Yes? Do you have benefactors, Kartikeya?
People around me, is that what it is? No.
Does anyone care for you or provide for you, dear Kartikeya?
Yes.
How often?
Every day.
How much of the day?
All the time.
All the time. So that benefactor is God's grace. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Can you see where that benefactor is coming from?
Yeah.
Can you relate to it?
Yeah.
Is it humbling if you actually do that?
Yeah.
4, we shed the puerile attitude, the base, of egoistically refusing helpful human intervention in our life by saying, God will help me. The right attitude is, it is God even now who is helping me through this person, and to that God in him we bow in gratitude. And number 5, all negative emotions like jealousy, hatred, contempt, etc. leave us. Everybody is an instrument in the hands of God. So he's speaking of a deeper cognition, practically speaking, in our day-to-day experience, our day-to-day lives.
Those are very helpful, practically.
Again, our experiences that we have, as it were, been slumbering, and if we can see it in this light, we can see that everything that's happening to us is related to the cessation of our slumbering. When that dawns, Hari, we talked about this sense of awe. When that actually dawns, that, oh my God, this is on purpose. And all of this, even the inner battle that goes on, all of this is to provide to us what is needed in order to wake up. Even the force that seems to work against us is required in order to help us to develop the strength of will to turn inward. to turn towards the light.
Can you explain that? Just elaborate on that for just 1 second.
If you didn't have a doubt, then you couldn't develop the strength of conviction that is required to have single-pointed mind.
Yeah. If the entire universe.
Why? If there wasn't a doubt, then there would be already naturally single-pointed, right?
Because this universe is exactly as it is perfect as it is. As long as you continue to practice Bhoga, then distracted. But the practice of Bhoga will drive you inward. You see that? The practice of Bhoga will drive you inward. So therefore, what did these distractions become?
The bridge.
The bridge. They became grace.
The gift.
So the doubt is the confirmation of the single-pointedness.
How do you become strong? A weightlifter, how does he become strong?
With pain.
By lifting a weight.
Lifting the weights, yeah.
How do you become firm? By lifting a weight. So for the weightlifter, is that weight that he has to struggle against in order to lift? Is it a friend or an enemy? It seems to be an enemy. Oh my God, I have to lift this 300 pounds.
But they don't see
But then what's the result of it?
Yeah, they won't.
And the true spiritual seeker, true sadhaka with strong commitment finally sees, all I have to do is work with these factors and overcome them, become stronger than them, transcend them.
That helps.
Yeah.
That's it. So I have to keep bringing the light to the doubt. And in time, the doubt will be subsumed.
In an emotional challenge,
Yes.
that will be like the strength can be translated to all I have to do is be the love.
Yes.
Will that be it?
Yes. Be one with the love. Be one with the love. Be one with the love. Be one with the light. And to be one with the love, you have to do what? Bring your awareness to it. And practice undistracted, undisturbed awareness of the light, which is love. Of the light, which is love. Coming back, just to close, coming back to the practice, to that Maha Mantra practice together. If I say the word compassion, can you relate that word to what we were doing?
Well, if you're deeply listening, the compassion is right there because you're aware of what's in front of you.
So
The empathy kicks in.
compassion is a state of unity, isn't it? Yes?
Yeah.
I think I sometimes mistake it for pity.
For pity.
Yes, it
yeah.
confuse it.
And pity would be in the mind, but compassion is a natural state.
Mm.
When you remove the borders, the barriers.
In pity, there's a sense of separation with the other person.
Yeah. I'll ask this. When you were able to listen so deeply with the repetition of the chanting of the mantra, when you were able to listen so deeply that the notes flowed naturally, and I know everyone had this experience at some point, what was the feeling?
Blessed.
Bliss.
Peace.
Were there moments of being undistracted in it?
Mm.
Yeah? So, and how did you feel your relationship to be with the mantra in those moments? No separation, right? That's compassion.
Mm.
Yeah? Oh. Okay. All right, we continue in the morning. Any comments, questions, anything? Do you have a question? You want to say something?
Swamiji, I shared a quote from Thought Power Satsang
Yes.
that was done when I was going through those, and it was very nice, and it was about Maya. And you said Maya's greatest weapon is distraction, and that hit home. I posted that because it felt very true that
Home. 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 Just that. Like distraction and diffusing as well, which has the same effect. To take one's awareness away from the light.
Yeah,
into something imaginary.
Yeah, I can reflect there's sort of an anxiety with that. When it's diffusion and distraction, there's sort of like a trying to work things out all the time or make some sort of better scenario.
Right.
So there's almost like a subtle panic type of, that's the bhavana of distraction, is almost this anxiety, at least maybe from my dojo.
Yeah, no, anger, fear, all of that. These are all self-defense mechanisms, right? Mm-hmm. All of them. Anxiety also is self-protection, self-defense mechanism in expression. Because the anxiety has something to do with being separate and being needful of whatever you fill in the blank, recognition, fame, being worshipped.
Listen to my drum.
Oh.
I always thought that was kind of goofy when you would say fame, like I'm not out there like a rock star, but then I realized that it definitely can snarl its head, but I was thinking of it in the wrong way, and that sort of structured my view to be that doubt, thinking that's ridiculous. But then I realized, well, when I cook, am I looking for fame?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wow, yeah, maybe so.
So do you see there that actually the doubt served?
Well, I guess it brought something into the light, yeah.
Yeah.
If I hadn't had the doubt, then I would have been unaware of it.
Yeah. Oh. Again, single-pointed awareness has to be the goal, and it's the way out. Single-pointed mind, but also deep awareness, practice of awareness. What? Seeing the light alone, seeing what's here alone, seeing the essence alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. just like weightlifting. Oh, okay.
Spiritual gym.
We're in the gym. We're in the school. We're in the gym.
School gym.
Oh, okay. Let's close. Final prayers in RT, page 174. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhi Pushti Vardhanam Orvai Rukameva Bandhanam Mritor Mukshiyamamrita. I have to share something. So we'll finish this. But I have to do it. It just comes, and it's so funny. So do you suppose that, did the weightlifter thing help with anyone?
Yeah.
Okay, do you suppose that when I sat down here this morning, I thought I'm going to tell them about the weightlifter? So who does that? I just sit here as an instrument. Stay tuned, and somehow I hear, tell them about the weightlifter. Okay.
That's a great example.
You never know. You think you know something, but you never know.
But everyone is an instrument of God. It
Yes.
depends which
Yeah.
aspect of God you're the instrument.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, Harry, that's true. Yes, it's true.
There's
And so if you can just see it, then you can be free. If you can see it and hold that seeing and not see something else,
Nothing or nobody's bad.
yeah, then you're free. But of course the work of seeing it is what we call sadhana. Okay, now. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Orvai Rukameva Bandhanan Mritor Mukshiyamamritat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Orvai Rukameva Bandhanan Mritor Mukshiyamamritat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Orvai Rukameva Bandhanan Mritor Mukshiyamamritat. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Shantu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashanto Makashi Dukhabha Bhave Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotir Gamaya Mritor Ma Mritam Gamaya Om Purnamida Purnamidam Purnamudashyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. O adorable Lord of mercy and love, salutations and prostrations unto thee. Thou art omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient. Thou art Satchidananda. Thou art existence, knowledge, and bliss absolute. Thou art the indweller of all beings. Grant us an understanding heart, equal vision, balanced mind, faith, devotion, and wisdom. Grant us inner spiritual strength to resist temptation and to control the mind. Free us from egoism, lust, anger, greed, hatred, and jealousy. Fill our hearts with divine virtues. Let us behold thee in all these names and forms. Let us serve thee in all these names and forms. Let us ever remember thee. Let us ever sing thy glories. Let thy name be ever on our lips. Let us abide in thee forever and ever. And below Sadhguru Shivananda Maharaj Ki.
Jai.
And for all the saints and sages of all the traditions.
Jai.
Jai. Let's stand for our tea.